The city of Barcelona is famous for just one sporting accomplishment. Just one entity that is famous above anything else for its sporting prowess. You know what that is, don't you? You know the very, very famous sports thing that came out of Barcelona. Barcelona, the city famous for one sporting thing only. Claudia Pena.
Claudia Pena.
Claudia Pena. The most famous sports thing from Barcelona. Do not at me.
Claudia Pena is phenomenal.
She's very good.
I love watching her play the sport of rugby union football.
I am so amazed she's 20 years old because she's been around quite a long time.
Yeah.
But she is the most talented winger. Let's just say that she's the most talented winger.
Yeah. She's one of those players, I feel like every time you check a Wikipedia page, she's got younger somehow.
Yeah.
Like, she's one of those.
She's Benjamin Button of women's rugby.
Yeah. But she is such an exciting talent. And earlier we were talking about, I was thinking, like, it's kind of like comparative in the men's game to David
You compared, and I see it completely. I completely get it. That real, like, there's something, even though she's a very young, prestigious talent, there's something sort of faultless about the rest of her game.
Yeah.
There's something sort of perfect about
It's
her.
the way that she'll just play any position and play it really well at any level. And no matter, even if the rest of the team aren't on her level, she will still just perform.
Primarily a winger, can play fullback, can play centre.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see her deployed on the wing over this World Cup. But I think there's a chance we might see her in all three over the course of the tournament.
Played at fullback against England in their warm-up games, so maybe that's a place they're looking to slot her in to give her more touches of the ball, because that often is true in women's rugby. The fullback will touch the ball a little bit more when teams keep the ball on the pitch from kicking games. So it's a real win-win situation because she's brilliant in both positions.
We're here to talk about Spain. If you hadn't worked out from Barcelona, if you didn't know where Barcelona was, we're going to talk about Italy and France down the road. We're going to talk about the on-the-continent teams. However, I think Spain, as the minnows, are perhaps the exciting place to start because a lot of people are unfamiliar with the Spanish women's team, who obviously were in the Six Nations until, 2006, when they decided to bring them alongside and replace them with Italy and brought the Italians in. And the Italians since then have kicked on and been great, and they've been a great addition to the Six Nations. But I think there is still a lot of animosity, and in some ways, it was a massive act of bullshit getting rid of Spain and replacing them with Italy to bring it close to the men's tournament. But at the same time, Spain have continued to be a team who have really competed and have really put up a fight. And they deserve to be at this World Cup. They've been a fantastic team over the last few years, and they've got a couple of real standout talents beyond just Claudia Pena, who plays for Quins and is like their real star player.
Yeah, and the Spanish style of play is something that's really entertaining in rugby. As an identity, they like to pass the ball lots, whether that is out of contact, offloading, or just get it to the wing as easily or quickly as you can.
It's very Barcelona.
Yeah.
And they have a rugby team alongside as well.
They typically like, and this is true of the men's and women's teams, they like to pass the ball out the back when they go for little forward pods and really test themselves to play really deep and give themselves as much space as possible. That sometimes can backfire when you're caught behind the gain line because it's inviting defences to come onto you. But it's a really ambitious style of play that when it works, it looks great.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying to watch.
Think about the World Cup qualifier they played against Wales last year, right? Because it's easy to look at the game they played a few weeks ago against England and think, well, they're not going to be up to much. They're not going to really compete. That's the Red Roses. Everyone loses by 50. They lost by 90 on this occasion.
That game looked like training.
Exactly.
For the Red Roses.
Fine. The Red Roses is a different matter. You've got to look at the other teams, the other kind of like the smaller, bigger teams, right? Against Wales, they had Wales on the ropes for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And eventually kind of fitness told Wales being a professional team and then being, like a lot of amateur players in amongst their semi-pros. And I think that maybe the area they come unstuck. But first half, I think we are in for a few real treats over the course of this tournament.
Yeah.
They are a team who like to play, who can play, have so much talent, are so good at unlocking and getting the ball, into those hands.
Yeah, I think with Spain, a lot of the ambition will be to score tries, to score exciting, entertaining tries, and have some stories in this World Cup that they come out with.
Sure.
And they have a couple of really exciting players to back that up. We've mentioned Pena there. I really like Alba Capel, the flanker, who's been playing at Sale Sharks. Looks like a really strong ball carrier, get them on the front foot. I like, obviously, the obvious name to talk about is Bimba, Laura Delgado, one of the leaders in this team. Comes across so well, so well as a leader.
Retired prop.
Yeah, brilliant player, really exciting. Like ball carrier, scrummager, whatever you want from a prop. Proper old school prop, and I love her for that. But the player that I love the most, other than Pena, who I'm most excited to watch, is Toulouse fly half, Amalia Argudo.
Yes, Argudo I'm very excited by. She balls. And she is someone who I don't think has any worry about winning the game. She thinks about, do we ball or do we not ball? And she thinks, yes, we ball. She is someone who will take risky decisions without seeming to weigh up their risks.
Yes.
She is brilliant to watch. I did not realise she was at Toulouse, but that's a very fun
She's second choice for Toulouse behind Kewa, the French 10, but also plays at fullback in other positions.
The thought of her and Pauline Bourdon-Sansus together is very exciting.
There's a bit of Ramos to it, isn't
want to go and pay to watch that, please. Please and thank you.
Against England, she was great fun. At the start of the game against England, she kind of forced a few kicks, and England put a bit of pressure on her and forced the kicks to go a bit sideways at times, and it was a little bit of a difficult one. But then, after that, whenever England switched off, she would have a crack. And she she attempted 2 out the back, behind her back passes in that game. And you know what? You respect somebody who will take a game like that and go, well, we've got a ball to try and beat them. So
it's the nature of the Spain team. They have 10 players in their squad who are 21 or younger. Right? Like, it's an incredibly young team. They've then got enough of like 3 or 4 who are 22, 23. So it's a phenomenally young team. A lot of them have come through playing age grade rugby together and have now stepped up at the same time. So you've got a real core of players that know each other inside out and are unflustered by generations of hardship and unfairness, really, who don't remember a day before, this kind of situation and are there to ball. So, the other Claudia Perez, who also plays on the wing, also plays centre, is a fantastic talent. She's lightning quick. She's supposed to be supposedly the quickest player in the squad. She, on her first season of senior rugby at 18 years old, well, the season she turned 17 into 18, she scored the first most tries of anyone in the history of the women's Spanish Premier Division. She was just an instant sensation. Won her first cap a year later, and since then hasn't looked back. It's been in, I think, all but 1 Spanish matchday squad since then.
That's brilliant.
So has just grown from nowhere. An incredible drawer as well, and drew out of Abby Dow, because she's Abby Dow super fan, has signed for Exeter for the upcoming season as well. So that's really exciting to see more of her. I just think she's a real talent and someone else you can get a few touches from. Clara Piquero as well, the fullback or winger, who has a real touch of class about them, was very good against Wales last year.
Yeah, scored a hat-trick against Madagascar as well.
A team that's criminal, they're not here. So their backline just stuffed with talent. It's a proper case of if they can get it out wide, then they've got something.
I really like the look of Carmen Castellucci at 8 as well. Really strong ball carrier. Again, somebody who can score tries when they get into range. And I think that is going to be the difficulty of how can they get close to the try line. But when they have some ball carriers that they can rely on, and they have enough gas out wide.
They also critically have Monica Costello in the second row, 38 years old, the real veteran of this team, the most experienced player in the lineup, who is there to win the ball, to be nails, and to help this much younger team out, drags the average age up drastically. But second oldest player at this World Cup. And I'm quite a fan of having one massive older head in here who's a reliable name they can go back to in Costello.
I think they're going to have her jumping at every line out, with Bimba lifting her and Christina Blanco getting the darts nailed on. That's going to be their line out strategy every time. Just chuck it to Costello.
And then just try and throw it wide as quickly as possible.
Hell yeah.
They're going to be great fun. I'm excited to see them.
And I don't care if it becomes predictable. I want to see these people run with the ball.
Okay, Italy. Right. Should we talk? Can we talk about Italy? We started jumping in, just talking about Claudia Pena for a bit. Should we talk about Alicia Dinker?
Yes. What an exciting player she is. Again, she's the first player whose highlight reel I'd go to that we're probably going to talk about in this whole video here. She is just such an exciting... She's not a big winger.
No.
She's a little winger who just loves darting around people. Her speed is top charts.
I compared in the other video that we keep mentioning, her getting the ball sometimes feels like you've suddenly done a load of drugs and you're suddenly watching a completely different game. And she's doing things that don't make any sense. She's moving at a pace that no one else seems to be able to move at. Sometimes she does things that are insane and do not work, but I could watch her for like weeks on end playing rugby.
Loved it when they briefly moved her to 13, and it was like, clearly her skill set does not suit 13.
Yeah.
But they just wanted to give her a bit more ball. But like, she will run sideways if it means she can then run forwards afterwards. She's that kind of player who's not afraid to do it the hard way. But she is, as you say, like, it's like she's permanently coked up and running at 1,000 miles an hour. She's the perfect Fabio Roselli player to have in this back line. Fabio Roselli, famously previously coached Zebre Palmer in the URC, and his Zebre team, if they weren't good, they were fun. They made sure they went down swinging.
He built his game around the fact that they were losing all the games anyway. He went, well, you get 1 point if you score 4 tries. So their entire game plan was, let's score 4 tries and let's worry about the result afterwards.
Give it to Simone Jessie.
So, yeah. And then he's basically brought that approach into the women's team, and they love him. And he said, like, oh, they've really softened my heart, I think was his quote. And he's absolutely loving the experience, and they love him, and they love that he's just gone, like, let's just chuck it about, let's play as open as possible. Then playing Brazil is going to be a hell of a game.
Yes.
That's going to, like, really lead to a great occasion.
Brazil will do the same thing that Zebre used to do, won't they?
Yeah.
And just go like, well, they're going to beat us. Let's score a few tries.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Brazil down the line. Yeah. But, like, this Italy team, huge amounts of fun.
They'll score points, and that's the fun bit. Even when they go down.
Whole back three. Ostuni Minuzzi at fullback.
Yes.
Who is, I think, runs it from anywhere. I think hasn't worked out that sometimes it's on to kick the ball instead.
Sure.
Or just take it in. We'll try and beat 6 defenders every time she gets it from deep.
I love that they've had pretty much the same back line for the last like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, well, she broke through in the last World Cup, right? Like, she kind of took that shirt.
Yeah.
And since then has been nailed into the team.
Still, since then, no one's really figured out what the best way of defending it is. Because you've got like Veronica Medea, who usually plays 10. It's between her and Emma Stevanin, who's stepped in the last couple of years, has been excellent, is a bit more of an attacker than Medea, who's a bit more of a game manager. With Rugone and then Silari outside her. And Silari is like the perfect boring centre, that she runs all the correct lines, like makes all the correct decisions, doesn't take anyone else on the outside because she's got Oramutso and Alyssa Diinka to do that on her outside, and Vittoria Ostuni Minuzzi, as you mentioned. And so like those two centres are there to just like straighten the line and just hold the defence, whilst the back three will do all the flashy stuff, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
But another thing got to talk about is, so Sophia Stefan, the scrum half, is probably going to hit her 100th cap over the course of this World Cup. She's on 98 at the moment, so she's probably going to get to that landmark. She's 33, so you imagine she's probably approaching retirement. But they have already found her replacement in Alia Bitonci at 9, who's 19 years old, played in the Six Nations, and I was so impressed.
She was absolutely
her
excellent.
Speed to the breakdown is superb, and it is a speed that Italy are comfortable playing at. And her kicking game is fantastic. That she was finding loads of space in the backfield, even against the big teams like France.
It's one of these interesting things that's happened with Italy this year, I think, a bit under Roselli, and a bit for this change in emphasis. Instead of being like a more rounded team, they've just gone purely like we're an attacking team, is them bringing Biconci and then bringing in Stevanin as the 10-12 has got the best out of the team around them. Where in past you looked at the likes of Medea and Rigoni and you went like, they're brilliant individual talents, rather than going, they're a cohesive whole that's unlocking others, right? Like, there's like, oh, that's a brilliant attacking 12 who can do things themselves. And I think actually we've seen them play a much more cohesive brand of rugby over this last year. And a big part of that is bringing in these two younger halfbacks who have changed things and just been a bit less like, taken less on themselves, like been less kind of expressive themselves and more like thinking in terms of executing the game plan. I
really like it because like Sara Balatin, when she retired a couple of years ago, is quite a similar player to Sophia Stefan, and they didn't really have to change anything when Balatin retired, but now that transition from Stefan to Bitonci, I think is really exciting because that could open them up a little bit more and change the way they play a little bit in the future. It'll take a bit of time to get used to.
Worth noting as well that Stefan is the 9 in women's rugby who box kicks most. This is something that comes with Italy. They are the one team now that Cunningham's left Wales who box kick regularly, who do exit off 9 and do hand contestable kicks. So it really stands out as a tactic in women's rugby, where it's quite rare. Like, you get the odd one, but they're generally to exit your own 22 and looking for touch, or little rollers and little pokes in behind for the winger chase or something. So having one team that hangs at contestable in Italy is notable.
Yeah.
What a different world it is to the men's game.
It's crazy.
You know?
It's crazy.
But
for people who don't like box kicking in the men's game,
this is it. Like, just don't watch Italy.
For you.
But in Italy, it's so dynamic and so broad. And, like, they're exactly the thing we always talk about, right? Of you box kick so you can open up space for your wingers to run it back in a phase or so time, right? Like, Italy are that team.
Yeah.
They do that so well.
Yeah.
In the pack, Silvia Tirani.
Yes.
Brilliant player.
Yeah, Sara Tanesi as well. The pair of them are both really good ball carriers. Tanesi in particular loves to just get around the park and make as many impacts as she physically can. She's a brilliant player. Vittoria Vecchini as well. I really, really like at hooker. Really hard runner with the ball.
Incredibly physical.
Yeah, loves the nuts and bolts of it all. I think Francesca Scorbini was one of the standout players of the Six Nations. Really enjoyed watching her play.
Best form of her career by some distance.
Really physical player, particularly good in the breakdown, both sides of the ball. Really
there are a couple of injuries in that Italian pack. Like, their backline's pretty much untouched. It's pretty much first choice. But there's a couple of the Giada Francos of the world. Like, there's a few of them missing, but which is a shame. But, like, they were never going to win this tournament with their pack. You know, it's always going to be like, can they get their backline enough space to do things? So, again, they have quite a tough assignment. They are in a pool with France. They have a very good chance at getting out of that group. Just the second time any Italian team, male or female, has ever made that group in a World Cup. However, if they are to go further than that, they are likely going to end up facing the Black Ferns.
But look, they're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Oh, yeah. Right? They are maybe the most vibes team at this World Cup.
Ostuni Minuzzi is going to score some counter-attack try against the Black Ferns.
Yeah, and look, are Italy going to win this tournament? No, they're not going to.
No, they're not going
right? to. They're going to do better than some teams that we've probably talked about a bit more seriously on this project that we're doing. However, they are one of the most fun teams.
They are.
Just in terms the amount of players that we've discussed and gone, God, they're great, aren't they? And like, talking about them has brought us this much joy. Imagine what it's like watching them.
It feels like the theme of this is continental European teams. The theme is actually the most fun sides in the game. Yeah. Because of the major contenders, France are the most fun.
Yeah.
France are so silly.
That's true.
France are a deeply ridiculous team.
Yeah.
They're currently coached by Gaël Hamé, one of their all-time like legendary players.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, incredibly hard-nosed hooker in the day.
Think female Rafael Ibanez.
Yeah. And you're halfway there to how hard she was.
Yeah.
And just like absolute nails. She then went on, and this is like a real statement, right? Until like 2022, 23, she was the forwards coach of Montpellier men. So she was like coaching, you know, the likes of Guiardo and like countless French internationals, and that Montpellier team that went on to win the league, like while she was there as forwards coach. She was the only female like coach in a major like rugby position rather than a physio position in the top 14. She was the first one to ever.
She was the one telling Paul Villemse what to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's how hard she is.
And apparently, like, there was never a moment of anyone being like, we've got a girl coaching us.
She was telling Paul Villemse how to hit things.
Yes, it was always like, oh, we've got the hardest person in France coaching us. William Servat was unavailable. So, yeah, like, incredible pedigree, was incredibly highly rated as a forwards coach. Just like one of the best forwards coaches in France. As I said, was like coaching the top 14 champions. And then was, I think, I would argue, sometimes there is a thing, right, that some people are natural assistant coaches. And I think, I worry that Mignot was like one of the great forward coaches who's been overpromoted to head coach.
I get that.
Because I don't think this has quite worked. She was given a co-head coach thing with David Ortiz, who, bizarre career, was floating around kind of Pro D2, Fédéral 1 rugby, never had like a real top flight head coach job, was kind of like a consultant people went to for attack rather than like a regular guy. But I think they're a bit worried about giving her a first head coach job being the national team.
Yeah, it's such different vibes from Thomas Dalac and Ali Cairot from the previous World Cup, isn't it?
Ali Cairot was a great coach.
Yeah.
And again, was like sniffed around for top 14 jobs.
Yeah.
But Mignot feels a bit like, obviously she wasn't going to take a job in the Elite Two in the top women's competition because she was doing so well in the top 14, which is the best league in rugby, domestic rugby, like regardless of gender. So she wasn't going to take a head coach job and take a demotion there.
Yeah.
And so in being asked to be head coach, like they took a gamble here.
Yeah.
And the thing is, David Ortiz said something recently that he's been very deliberately getting rid of as much structure as possible because he thinks the structure hurts France and he doesn't want them playing with that and he wants them all playing on instinct. I think that's kind of been the problem.
Yeah.
I think France in that warm-up game against England and then before that in a lot of the Six Nations.
They weren't trying in that warm-up game against England.
France look like they're making it up as they go along.
Yes, they are.
And I think that's a problem. I think what they need is the Fabien Galtier approach of we have structures so that we can then break them.
Yeah.
And instead, they've kind of gone, let's get rid of the structures. And I think this France team is fundamentally flawed on that account.
Yeah.
I think they have the talent to be a top 3 team. Obviously, France have finished second, and I think all but 2 World Cups. Yeah. They're just like the third, like they are perpetual bronze medalists. They've got a shot at that, obviously, because they've got a shot at making a semi-final. But I don't know if I would take them seriously any more than that.
It's a tough one to figure out. In the Six Nations, they perpetually batter everybody, then get to the England game, have a good game, and don't quite win it. That seems to be what happens every single year. Then you're right, in the World Cup, they cruise to the knockout phases. Yeah. They will win the quarter-final. They will agonisingly lose the semi, and then they will cruise to the bronze medals thereafter. It's really difficult because they have a squad who deserves better than that.
Yeah.
And if I put myself in the shoes of a French fan, I would say we deserve better than that. This group of players deserve to do better than a bronze medal, and I would be so frustrated that they've never done.
They've never really pushed for it as well. It's never really felt like there was going to be any different. Obviously, the missed penalty in the last semi-final that
Drouin
easily could have gone the other way, could have floated between the posts, or they could have given it. They could have hit Tremoulier, right, and they could have knocked that over.
They screwed up so badly on that one.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, that came back to coaching, selecting the wrong team, selecting the wrong players, and playing an incorrect game plan.
Yeah,
and I think Gaël Munoz is clearly an excellent coach. Yeah. David Ortiz, I think the jury's out. But I don't know if she's a head coach yet.
Yeah.
And I think she was over-promoted because they had someone of the calibre they needed. And they jumped the gun a little bit. And I know I'm repeating myself here, but I just don't... I think this France team they look too loose. They don't look as good as they should be. They're so much less than some of their parts. And if you look at some of their parts, they are incredible. In terms of raw talent, I think they're maybe second to Red Roses. They're at least similar to the Black Ferns. And yet I think they're nowhere near the level of contention.
Yeah, again, French flair does come to mind here in terms of some of their parts. So look at some of their parts, right? So they have a huge contingent from the Elite 1 champions, Stade Bordelais, which is the Gloucester Hartpury to Bordeaux Begs, Gloucester, to put it in English language terms like that. So from the Stade Bordelais squad alone, they have Ilana Brasso, Makalata Baladongo, Asea Kalfawi, Maduso Fall, Kolea Kisoko, Carla Arbez, Nasir Conde, Joanna Grisset, and Morgan Bourgeois. Yeah. That is just from the Stade Bordelais contingent.
There's a name there I want to pull out, which is Morgan Bourgeois, who has broken through massively. Won her first cap back in 2023, but won a handful of caps with the bench the first 2 years. Didn't really get a go until this year's Six Nations, where she's been so good for Bordeaux in the Elite. And obviously, I say that I'm going off reputation. It isn't broadcast over here, so we can't say for certain. But she then comes into this France team, and it's like Toma Ramos had electroshock therapy and became sensible. She is a unbelievable goal kicker. You talked on the Red Roses one about, is Emma Singh the best goal kicker in women's rugby? I see that.
Right up there.
I would raise you Morgan Bourgeois.
Yeah, that's fair.
This stat again is in the other video, but she has kicked 50% of all the goals kicked in women's international rugby this year. She's kicked 8. There's been 16 so far involving any team that's qualified for this World Cup. I didn't look beyond that.
And the thing is, you will flip that on its head and go, oh, all that tells me is no one's kicking goals. But why?
Yeah.
Why aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they don't have a kicker of her quality.
Conversely, why are France the only team kicking goals?
That's
right?
it.
It's
because they do have a kicker.
They do have that. Despite the meta being weighted so heavily against that, they have someone who can kick them from halfway, from anywhere, who is knocking over 100%. I think she missed one. No, I think she hit every penalty and she missed 2 conversions or something over the course of the Six Nations. She was an unbelievable.
She's a world-class kicker,
but is also brilliant kicking ball in hand.
Yeah.
And positionally so sound.
Yeah.
I became a massive fan of her, right down to the fact that you can chant her name to the Alele Bleu, like Morgon Bourgeois, Morgon. That became the thing I was doing at my TV on my own as I sat there sweating and getting, steadily fatter and older. And I'm just like, I've become her biggest fan. Yeah. I am her biggest fan who doesn't speak French.
Yeah, plays as that secondary playmaker in the team. Sometimes the primary playmaker, to be honest. Does that thing that like Thomas Ramos or Villy Leroux does, and they just step up and will take ownership of the whole attack when that happens, because they've got like the aforementioned Kewa, also from Toulouse, will step up, and it's a playmaker, but sometimes throws risky passes and so on. Carla Arbe, you can probably say the similar things of. So sometimes you need somebody to step up and add a bit of direction from a little bit further behind. I think she's really good at that.
The pun I made during the Six Nations is Jessie Moulier. She feels like a natural sequel there.
Nice.
She's got a couple of really nice tries during the Six Nations as well.
Speaking of the Stade Bordelais contingent, there's one player I want to bring up, and that is Makolata Balanadongo, who is an uncapped prop, who, as I say, won the Elite 1 this season. But she is Fijian, and her dad, Daniele, played on the wing for Fiji and Mont de Marsan.
Wow.
Back in about 2006-7-ish. Didn't make the squad for the 2007 Rugby World Cup. And now his daughter is playing in the front row for France.
It's Sione Tuipulotu, not that one. All over again, who obviously is father of Cecilia, played scrum half, and then produces a daughter who's a natural prop.
That is a new story to me, and a bizarre one.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what kind of player she turns out to be.
That's exciting.
If her dad is a Fijian winger, those are good genes, my friend.
Not bad.
Great genes.
I've seen worse.
Speaking of Stade Bordelais, Madusu Fall, one of the best carriers in the game, one of the best over the breakdown as well in terms of stealing ball, is a long, limbed, rangy runner. And I don't think anybody in rugby has figured out quite how you're meant to tackle her yet.
No, it's that offloading game, isn't it? It's those arms. It's that ability to get the ball out of the tackle. She's superb. Rose Bernadou as well, who came back wearing a face mask, like a Batman mask this year, having been gone for a little bit. And what a ball carrier she is. Again, someone that's just impossible to stop.
Yeah.
She gets up ahead of steam. She gets a couple of steps going, and she will make at least 3 or 4 meters. Big fan of her in the front row.
Yeah.
And then some of the backs. We haven't mentioned the one big name.
No.
Which is Pauline Bourdon-Sansus, who is on the wall behind us, just there. She is.
What a 9 she is.
Yep, the gifting us for her presence. One of my favourite players in the world.
Yeah.
Just a huge. I am about as big a fan of Pauline Bourdon-Sansus as you can get.
Yeah. Toulouse scrum half. She was. I think it's probably not unfair to say she was the best player in that New Zealand-France semi-final, which is one of the best games of rugby ever. 3 years ago in that World Cup, she was phenomenal in that game, and I think she's a much bigger component to this World Cup than people will give her credit for, because people will go, oh, well, she's a brilliant player, so she's going to play a part in this World Cup. When in actuality, this is a French team who can compete with anybody. Are they a team that can beat anybody? Some people would say no, but she proved in that game that when the stakes are high enough and she's in a tight game, she can push her team over the edge, right? And take them up a gear. And there is a world, I'm not saying it's this world, but there is a world where she gets into that a semi-final or a final against an England, and she helps her team accelerate up to their level.
If France win this World Cup, it's because she does it for them.
Yeah.
It's because she goes up a gear and becomes this Super Saiyan version of herself, which she's totally capable of doing. We've seen her do in individual games before. 100%. She is the best scrum half in the world.
Yeah.
She might be the second best scrum half in the world to Antoine Dupont.
Yeah.
If we're going all of rugby. Sorry, James, to give us a buck, but I think I'd rate her above him. Him above, whatever. I think in terms of ability to both play as a normal scrum half, to play as a kicking scrum half, which again is rare. We talk about Stefan, but there's very few who can flip between.
She's
the
the
two
best box kicker in women's rugby.
Yeah, I think this is probably right up there. And then her goal kicking as well.
Yeah.
And then the fact that she may yet present us the first drop goal in a Women's World Cup in 15 years.
Yeah.
That's on the table here.
Yeah, it was the first drop goal in 18 years.
Something like that in the Six Nations
she scored, which is pretty remarkable.
Speaking of kicked a few in the Elite One as well.
Yeah, speaking of the back line, a few names. They are blessed with great wingers to watch above all.
Joanna
Grise, outstanding.
Yeah.
Marilyn Ménager plays either wing or outside
He's
centre.
now captain, which has caught me off guard.
Bizarre, but incredibly balanced runner. Kelly Arbe, I really like on the wing.
Can I give you a quote from Kelly Arbe?
Go on.
This made me laugh out loud when I read it. She said the other day, when asked about the prospect and whether they can win the World Cup, she said, "We're in England's heads now. They know who we are."
After losing 40 points to 6 to them.
I think she was thinking more of the game of the Six Nations.
Okay.
But the fact that that happened, I don't think England are that worried.
No. But nice.
But she is right. England do know who France are.
That's true.
They are aware
familiar
of the
with the
team
country
from
of
like they're
France.
over a bit of water and there's a tunnel between them. If you want to take the Eurostar.
Yeah. Then you have the two centres. I'm a huge fan of Nasira Condé.
Yeah,
the outside centre has huge gas, really good offloading game, and is just a really unpredictable centre.
Yeah.
And of course, the biggest name in all of this. When you said the star player of the whole team, I thought you were going to talk about
the biggest name, the smallest person.
Yes.
Gabrielle Vernier.
Yes.
Who is about the exact size and dimensions of our mum, and yet hits with the force of a freight truck. Yeah. Like, she is... I keep saying they're my favourite players to watch, but like this is true as well. Yeah. Gabrielle Vernier came through as like the best defensive centre in the world, despite being about the size of Wally here. Yeah. But will like, if they come into contact, will absolutely melt you. I don't think there's a better technical tackler in the world.
I don't think so. In any form of rugby, no. I don't think there is. I feel so inspired by watching Gabrielle Vernier as like a smaller rugby player. Watching the way she tackles, just it makes me shudder. Yeah. Like I would hate to run into her.
And then has added so much like attacking game to her in terms of ability to pick lines.
The Vernier line.
Yeah, is brilliant. She runs it like nobody else.
Yeah.
And then she's now added an increasingly like a kicking game as well. So she is veering on the perfect rugby player.
Who needs to distribute the ball when you're over the try line?
Exactly. She's flying under the radar a little bit, I think, at the minute. Like, people aren't talking... Baudouin Sansus is the French player that's getting the attention.
She's a crash ball centre who's that big.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
She's the Kieran Williams of the world. So I am so excited to see her. I think this French team is absolutely stacked with talent. And I think they can achieve anything. Whether they will, I think, is a very different matter. Yeah. And it depends on whether or not like it was a bluff by Ortez and they actually do have some structure they're going to bring out.
Sure.
I want to very quickly ask you two questions about France.
Oh, go on.
Do you think they can win the World Cup?
Yes, but it's a very, very slim chance.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
There's like a 5% chance they could win the World Cup. Not even that. Yeah.
Do you think we see a drop goal in this tournament? Section B, is it Pauline?
If so, yes, but no.
You don't think we will?
I don't think we will.
I think we will.
You think so?
And I think it'll be a completely pointless game that they're already ahead in.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't think it'll be... No, if it is Italy, then like they'll be 20 points up.
Bourgeois,
I think we're looking at like
20
Japan or something. No, I think we're looking at Pauline Baudouin Sansus knocking it over when they're already ahead against Japan.
I like it.
That's my gut feeling.
From a goal line dropout.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered 3 teams.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. 1 player each to watch from each of these nations. Let's go in the order we did. España.
Do you want to go first on España?
Well, Pena's the obvious shout, isn't she? And I'm kind of going to stick there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to move much further beyond it.
So
she's 20. She's incredible. She's somehow got 20 plus caps already. She plays a number of different positions. You look at the way she's able to rig out tackles and score a try against England. Like, she can do that against anyone then. Like, if she can still produce the same level of bullshit she does week in, week out for Quins, and week in, week out when playing against, the kind of less established nations, then she can do it against anyone. She can still do it against England. So
totally agree.
Claudia Pena.
But for the sake of being different, I will pick out the rogue, not the rogue shout, it's the obvious shout, Bimba, Laura Delgado. As I say, brilliant tight head prop, has been around the block, done it all, right? And sure, she won't be as entertaining as Pena, but for all front row fans out there, Bimba will be your favourite player at this World Cup.
Yeah. And then Italia.
Okay. As much as I'm tempted to go with Bitonci, I think she's more future. I think she's got a bigger future, and then she got Stefan competing for that shirt with her. So instead, I'm gonna look. You stole Pena from me. I'm stealing Dinka from you. So again, another winger who is known for her sidestep, but there will be like a World Rugby Try of the Year that either was scored by or set up by Alyssa Dinka.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a Dinka like player of the match in this tournament. Yeah. I think we're going to have one game where she like absolutely belts it and scores a hat trick.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah Tunasi is the name standing out to me. It's the name screaming at me. I've mostly picked forwards for these so far.
Yeah.
But tell you what, right? I'm going to go slightly rogue. and pick Michaela Seelery.
Yeah.
Who has missed a lot of rugby lately.
Yeah.
And has not been playing her best rugby. But I'm going to back her. I think if Italy compete, it is her and Rigoni really firing in the centres.
Yeah.
They're one of the most nailed in and settled centre partnerships. So I'm sort of thinking those two as the centres. But if you say Rigoni, then people think you're expecting like the bullshit and holding a goldfish and they're doing like, you know, back heel chips and looking at Bob Dylan and everything and eating sweets, pulling them out of a little like inner sock.
It's mad that we've not really talked about Rigoni on this,
but I sort of, it's a cop-out, but I sort of think it's like the midfield clicking, right? And it's like, can that midfield click is the key for Italy? That doesn't really answer the question, so let's just go for Muzzo, the other winger.
Yes! Oh, mate, she's so much fun. Yeah. You're in for surprise if you've not watched Aura Muzzo play for. I mean, her first name is spelt the same as Aura. Like, that sums her up as a player. Okay, España. No, wait, we've done España.
We've done Spain. Let's do
France.
France. I mean, look, I've been very obvious today, but Pauline. It's Pauline. I think not only is she the most fun to watch, she also is the best player and is also the critical player. As I say, like, I think if France are to have a serious World Cup, it is because Pauline Bourdon-Sansus does like a deux à trois in 2011 and just drags them kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that France have like a mutiny or something. And like, or like Ortiz is found like bleeding on outside the team hotel one morning.
Yeah.
Though
I mean, that's probably because Gaël Hermé is there. But yeah, still.
I do want to mention Manon Bijot as well. The hooker.
She's also nice.
Broke through this tournament. Again, very small for an international hooker, but real quality player.
Yeah. She's nails, 100%. You can see why Gaël Hermé likes her.
Yeah.
You can say that much. Okay, so Pauline Bourdon-Sansus, completely agree. I think that she's the most important player, as much as I rate Chambord. You could really see that she wasn't there in that England warm-up.
She might be the most important player to any team in this tournament.
Yeah. Up with Alex Tessier for Canada, I think.
I think even more than Tessier. I think up with Callender for Wales.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. However, to be different, I kind of want to go Gabrielle Vernier. Yeah. Just, again, like, I don't want to make it too bad.
It's on brand, innit? Like,
yeah.
Of course that's who we're picking.
She's just one of the most incredible players to watch because she defies physics in the way that she lifts people up and carries them 10 yards backwards who are 3 times the size. Honestly, she's incredible. Like, if you are like an up-and-coming back or a kid watching rugby who's not, who's not blessed genetically with your height or your weight, then watch Gabrielle Vernier and watch her melt people.
Yeah, this is a life-size Billy 12 trees. That's how big they were. Just inspired by Gabrielle Vernier, they just like could hit people all the same. Yeah. Do you think the Springboks will win this weekend? The men?
Sure.
Cool, we've covered that game then. All right, Women's World Cup coming up very soon. Pauline Bourdon-Sansus will be the main topic of discussion on this channel.
And she's, of course, genetically created a perfect scrum-half baby with her wife, Laure Sansus.
Yes, who's just had that baby.
Yep.
And she's going to be given time off during the World Cup to go and visit them and see them.
How exciting.
So that's very lovely.
Also, bring back Laure Sansus. She's world class.